Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dad of Boy Climbing a Mountain Simulator.
I wouldn't exactly call this a simulator. These highly convenient fissures do not appear on too many mountains.
Yes, but you also don't have that green bar that will go down slowly as you climb up, which means this game is objectively better. I say, not being facetious even a little bit.
It's funny once you get the ins and outs of climbing in Breath of the Wild, though. Like the act of climbing a mountain in that game becomes oddly similar to climbing an actual mountain, in that you have to really, really pick your path.
Yeah. Until you figure out how to cheese the game and basically be able to climb most mountains pretty much infinitely. I like how you touch fire for all of half a second and Kratos is now burning all over. Yeah. But yeah, no. The Breath of the Wild ding counter just keeps on going up right now. I guess I'm just thinking about it a lot because I'm just wondering when the heck they're gonna actually give us a release date for that goddamn game.
They said for sure it's 2022, so...
Yeah, but they also... Do you remember that first Breath of the Wild trailer where it says something like 2016? Or 24... No, it was 2014. It said it's like this big thing in 2014. It's like, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah,
Well,
still the worst one I can remember is, okay, there's two for the worst ones I can remember. Twilight Princess and Persona 5.
Yeah, the Persona 5, it's just like coming
It was supposed to be...
2013 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a PS3 game.
Persona 5, you can actually see within the game itself that they had planned it to come out in 2016, or before 2016 at least, because the game's calendar itself matches 2016. But it's still like 20XX because it came out too late for 2016.
Are there gorillas in ancient Nordic mythology?
It's a cave troll, I guess.
Oh, okay. I guess that is a cool way to make the trolls feel like an interesting take on them. Like, I've never really seen trolls have like a gorilla kind of posture to them. They've always just kind of been big dudes. So that's actually kind of interesting.
Oh no, a bunch of mooks.
I can't handle
Very-
six
very-
guys.
Very Lord of the Rings music here.
Oh, this is extremely Lord of the Rings. Boss fight!
Yep.
It's a good thing Atreus is wearing mithril armor.
Yeah.
Mithril. I haven't watched Lord of the Rings in
It just turned 20 the
Lord
other
of the
day.
Rings
Fellowship of the Ring
turned
just-
20.
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
wow.
a few days ago, yeah.
God, wow.
At the time of this recording.
Man, I can't
It's
believe
like I remember seeing that in theaters.
I can't believe there's been 20 years of Sam and Frodo memes this long. Like, wow.
taking the hobbits to Isengard. Guard.
Yeah. So,
and guess what? We got a new Lord of the Rings meme this year with Pondering New York.
so that's where that's from. Okay,
It's a weird cover of like one of the versions of the book with Saruman on it. He's pondering the Palantir. But it doesn't really look like the Palantir from what we envision it nowadays, so it's just like old weird wizard guy pondering the orb.
Okay, I was wondering why people were just talking about an orb randomly, and I'm like, okay.
I was wondering that too. I was streaming yesterday and someone just asked that question out of nowhere, and I'm like, I don't get it. But like, okay. Man, I need to rewatch that goddamn trilogy.
I say that to myself a lot, especially since I want to know if it holds up as well as I remember it. But I just don't have 15 hours to spend watching The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it absolutely holds up. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is a great Dungeons and Dragons movie series, but like, I'm older now, so I do have some problems with the direction they went in terms of tone and energy. But I also recognize that the movies probably wouldn't have happened if they didn't go that way. So,
In what specific way do you mean?
Little too actiony, a little too haha, Legolas slides down on a shield, shooting guys with his bow, sort of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing is definitely... Well, I mean, like, the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition handbook literally brings up Legolas surfing downstairs on a shield as an example of the kind of stuff you can do in the game. So, it's, but, like, Gimli himself, his presentation is very Bruenor Battlehammer.
Yeah, no, Gimli is definitely something I know a lot of people have issues with in the movies, in that
But
he's an
a
interesting,
boring
well-developed character in the first movie and just comic relief in the second two.
Yeah, the problem with Gimli is that he's barely a thing in the books.
Yeah.
After the forming of the Fellowship, he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Well, that's true of most of the characters in the Fellowship, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically
your
just
main
Aragorn,
characters are
right?
Frodo, and Sam, and Aragorn, yes.
Yeah. So, like, do Legolas and Gimli just kind of tag along?
They're just tag-alongs.
The thing about The Lord of the Rings as a book is that it was written in a different time. They didn't really do character focus the way we do it now. Like, nowadays, when a fantasy book is written, the perspective is constantly switching from character to character, and you get inside their heads a lot.
Yeah,
whereas
that's a big thing in a lot of the fantasy books I've read lately.
Yeah, in The Lord of the Rings, it's written as an account from, like, a detached perspective, and sometimes it will shift partially into someone's headspace, but only partially, and only for short spurts. So you get a lot of what's going on with Legolas and Gimli if you pay attention to what they're talking about and what's going on around them. There's a whole lot of stuff with Moria in the book that, like, the entire reason Gimli shows up in Rivendell in the first place is to bring stuff going on in Moria to Elrond's attention, and he just sort of gets wrapped up in the Fellowship while he's there. But, like, all of that stuff is conveyed in a very
The Council of Elrond is a boring chapter to read.
It's mostly Gandalf and other characters going on for like an hour at a time about their specific reasons for being there. The entire thing with Saruman, you don't actually see like Gandalf and Saruman having their little telekinesis battle. You just find out afterward what was going on.
Yeah, Gandalf tells you about it.
In Gandalf's words, he narrates the entire thing in front of the council.
I totally kicked Saruman's ass, but he snuck up behind me and bumped me on the head. Yes, that's exactly what happened. I definitely did not lose.
And then Saruman did a really cheap trick, man. Like, he definitely hit me from behind while I totally had won that fight.
But, like, it makes it difficult to go back to the Lord of the Rings from a modern perspective because, like, we're just used to reading a different kind of story than Tolkien wrote, you know?
I feel like stuff these days is extremely character focused. Like, character is often the most important thing about any given story. Like, I've said this before, but that's like a good 60% as to why the MCU works is because, like, most of the movies have something roughly equivalent to the same plot. It's just that
they're
you like the
extremely
heroes.
cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's just like you like the heroes, so you keep on watching. You know, and the action scenes are good.
They do a good job of developing the characters, and the actors do a good job of bringing those characters to life.
Yes.
And that keeps you attached to it, even if the story surrounding them might be a bit rote.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's like 40 MCU things at this point, so obviously some have better plots than others.
Kratos,
but just
what
generally
was that?
speaking.
Kratos, what was that? How, he like shoved the door away at the end there, but like he didn't really shove it; it just sort of popped away. That was a really odd animation.
Does the game keep you from swinging your weapon into people during stuff like this?
Yeah.
Look at fucking Princess Zelda over here with her bow of light.
She is Zelda. She's doing a whole bunch of cool things while you're not playing as her, and then she disappears whenever she could be doing something actually useful. Man, so the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer that they showed, was it like E3 or some Nintendo Direct?
Well, which one? Well, I mean, they were both E3.
The one where Link got the longer hair.
I mean, that was both of them, but...
Okay.
Oh, no. The first one was not, but no, you're thinking of this past E3.
Yeah, the past, like, don't get me wrong, it was a really cool trailer, but I was really disappointed when it's just like, nope, Zelda's not playable. And I know that it's a game about Link and not about Zelda, even though her name's in the title. But still, like, I think people have been wanting a playable Zelda in Zelda for a while.
Did they explicitly, like, shut down the possibility of playable Zelda?
I think they did.
I don't remember if they explicitly did, but the trailer pretty heavily hinted that she's not playable, you know?
I mean, if Zelda's there, she might be playable as a second character, but because they've done that before.
Yeah,
but and this would be a good game to bring that concept back, because Sheikah Slate. She could do a lot with it.
Yeah, it's like Zelda's always really cool whenever like she is like in both Hyrule Warrior games. She is one of the cooler characters to
in
play.
Age of Calamity. She's literally 2 characters. She has a full moveset for when she doesn't have her powers, and then when she awakens her powers, there's a second Zelda character to play as who is like pure magic.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I didn't get that far because, unsurprisingly, playing over 1,000 hours of the first Hyrule Warriors burns you out on the second one. Who would have thunk that, right?
You will be pleased to know that completing Age of Calamity is not quite as demanding as the first one, though.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I've also been thinking about Hyrule Warriors a lot lately because I've been listening to the soundtrack for the first game, which is still among Nintendo's best OSTs, in my opinion. And I guess I'll just record that at some point because, I mean, I already did, but stupid Nintendo releasing another stupid updated version of the game. Damn it.
This is really actually a fun scene where Kratos is doing the same kind of weird puzzle shit he'd normally be doing everywhere else, but now he has an audience.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, like, this is straight out of, like, the big temple from the first game. But there's just people, like, sitting there watching, like, Kratos is probably just thinking, you want to help, boy?
This is kind of like giving me the same energy as in Devil May Cry 5 when Dante does his stupid thriller dance or moonwalk or whatever, and it's like the one time he does that kind of weird, crazy stuff when people are watching him.
No, he didn't. He did that in 4.
Well, I mean, he did wacky stuff in 4, but like the only time someone else was there was like when he was doing the stage skit with Agnes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna bring up this thing because that's basically the same thing. What he was doing.
Yeah, but he was riffing on Agnes as Agnes was being dramatic, and Agnes being Agnes just played along. So that was fun, but like he's not usually doing weird dances and stuff while he has like 3 people watching him. So it was just funny.
Your bowstring stopped glowing.
Its power is now depleted.
Oh, that's convenient.
Of magic remained in the bowstring, and we used them.
Oh, does that mean he gets an upgrade to his bow?
He does, yes.
Your bow, please.
Can he make magical glowy bridges now?
Yes.
Oh, cool. That's very convenient.
Once you claim
Congratulations, boy. You are now Zelda.
the bowstring with its power. Don't forget.
So yeah, it's not just Kratos who gets upgrades throughout the game.
That's cool, though. Like, I do like the idea that Atreus does keep on improving throughout the game.
Oh, as a consequence of this, are there like crystals in the big hub area that you can now access?
Yeah, we passed them on the way to the mountain area.
This temple has been asleep, underwater for almost 150 winters. It needs only the light of the Bifrost to reawaken.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dark section. Aw, man.
Actually, no.
Aw.
At least you can actually see in this dark section.
Wait, does he just have like a chest-mounted flashlight?
Sure.
These roots are part of the great growth tree, and make travel
She might as well, the way that lighting is working.
Well, we're also carrying the magic key that'll let it get going.
What is actually
Approach the
glowing?
table.
It's the magic key she's holding.
You will need this,
Oh.
the Bifrost, to create travel between realms.
It's a glorified key, thank you.
It can capture, hold, and transfer the light of Alfheim. Place the Bifrost there.
So, do we now get to go to like Elf World and Giant World and whatnot? Cool.
Yep. We don't go to all of them, but they said in the sequel in Ragnarok we'll go to all 9 realms.
Yeah, This is one thing about Norse mythology that in many of the stories, the modern interpretations severely underuse, is the fact that there are 9 realms, and they're all, like, their own worlds. When it's just like, we only ever see, like, Asgard and the human world. It's just like...
It winds up feeling like Mount Olympus and below Mount Olympus. So...
I do kind of feel like, at least somewhat, modern Western culture kind of tries to Greekify the Norse gods a little bit, you know?
Well, it's because it's the thing we recognize the most. And as a result, if you want to tell a story with them, it's the easiest way to kind of get people on board. Where it's like, hey, it's Odin, the guy, the king of the Norse gods. He's kind of like Zeus, except kind of sorta.
Yeah, I mean, I know why they do it. I appreciate when they do highlight the, like, what makes them unique, because it's such a different culture than Greece.
Well, they go about a lot of Odin stuff in this game on the side. And it's like, oh no, Odin was absolutely a paranoid dickhead about things, but the problem is he was right about most of it.
Yeah, he's like the tinfoil, like the tinfoil hat guy who's like, the government is corrupt. It's like, yes, the government is corrupt, but they're not corrupt because they're hiding aliens. They're corrupt because of gestures to the world. you know? So, it's like, how do you say you're wrong when you can actually until the end of time?
Yeah.
The answer is no goddamn clue.
So yeah, here's our world.
Oh, that's a cool, like, world selection. So does the game get non-linear at this point?
No, it's still pretty linear. We can't go to any other realm. We can just go to here and Alfheim.
Okay.
Our goal is to go to Jotunheim. We'll find out later on in the game.
Are you able to, like, highlight all 9 realms and just not access the ones that aren't in this game?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess that means
Dark side is.
I guess that means we'll be using this temple to get to the other ones in the second game.
Most likely, yes. Mind you, we're not going to just 2. I think we go to 4 in this game.
Which one is Alfheim again? Is that the...
Alfheim is the Elves' land.
Elfland,
that's
what I thought it was.
That kind of makes it feel like this game and Ragnarok are meant to be like 2 halves of the same story.
Well, it would be good if that's the case. Like
God of War 4 and Knuckles.
But if they knew what they were going to be doing in the second game and then, like, wrote the story around that, I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
I love this effect. It's very otherworldly.
It is a nice effect. It's kind of giving me a headache, though. But yeah, I'm liking this concept, and I'm glad that they did go into the different worlds and the more Norse-specific aspects of Norse mythology, because if they're going to go to the trouble of making the game so distinctly different from what we're used to, then leaning into that in its entirety and emphasizing the different parts of Norse mythology that set it apart from the Greek is a good way to unify the narrative, I suppose you could say. And this is very pretty.
It is extremely pretty.
Like, a lot of the environments, apart from the main hub, which was very grand, a lot of the environments so far have been pretty standard looking in terms of, like, the way the landscape and the architecture work. I remember the place where we met this witch was a standout because of how mystical and fairy tale-like it looked. This is giving me similar vibes.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Kratos.
To restore the Bifrost magic, you must step into the light, but be very careful not to get caught.
I'm sure that wasn't important at all.
So, why did she get sucked out?
We find out later, but she is cursed not to be able to travel to other realms.
She's cursed to stay in one realm. Okay.
She should have given us this information before we stepped through.
It seems like a very easy thing to tell us. We weren't in a rush.
It's also one of those things where I think she assumed she had more time than that.
Yeah.
Based on how she reacted. But we will see more next time.